All right, welcome back, everyone. This is the Game One Loves Forever, the golf podcast. I am here today with the man who is all of this happened, with all X Golf, and we got Chuck here. Chuck, thanks for coming on.
Hi, thank you guys. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad you're doing this. It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun for us too.
Yeah.
So really
No,
appreciate it.
I appreciate you lending me the space and
Yeah.
let me do it. And yeah, just every week we have fun, and all the guests compliment, X Golf and everything you have here, and just
Appreciate that.
high marks for sure.
Appreciate that. We work
Yeah.
hard every day, and
Yeah.
and it's a passion project for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're just making our way. So
Yeah.
happy about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And with the liveliness here, you get everything.
We get a lot of that too, which is good, especially on the league nights.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's pretty rowdy in here.
Yeah. So, kind of, I guess getting right into it, just how did X Golf come about? Where did you find out about it? Give us that kind of background.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a lifelong golfer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lifelong bad golfer, like everybody
Yep.
else.
Yeah.
I think that's the majority of
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah.
Played young, played in high school, played a little in college. Played when I was single. Got married, kept playing.
Yeah.
Had kids, had to stop playing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yeah. It's like, no, wait, there's no time for it anymore,
okay.
right? And really took a break from the game for like 7 or 8 years. Once a year, get out and go to the driving range and hit some balls. That was about it. And started to get back into it a little bit. The late 2019, 2020, getting around here, and then COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. COVID hit. I had a group of maybe 10 friends. We're looking for stuff to do. We did like everybody else. Let's go
Yeah.
play golf.
Yep.
We started doing a weekly thing, got back into it. We were talking a bit ago about going to get fit for new clubs.
Yeah.
I was playing with, a 15-year-old Nike Pro Combo set in 2020.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's time to get new clubs.
Yeah.
And, went and did that during COVID in a mask, the whole
Yeah.
thing, right? And we got into it enough, all as bad golfers, to start saying, there's not a lot of golf here. There's not a lot of options. Maybe it was COVID. Maybe everybody's out there doing it. We couldn't get a tee time. We're playing in crappy weather, and we
Yeah.
just started, thinking about, what we could do around it. Be honest with you, it started saying, man, wouldn't it be great to have like a really nice high-tech driving range around here? Something with some, TrackMan, and you get out there and you get your numbers and you do everything. And
Yep.
I think 2 weeks later, I bought a net for my garage, and I would go out there and, hit balls in the garage with a little launch monitor and that whole thing. And so I was working at the time for a company in Chicago. Actually, I live here, my office is in Chicago.
Yeah.
And back and forth all winter long. And, you go into the greater Chicago area, there's got to be 80 indoor golf places around there.
Yeah.
And, it's sort of one night somebody said, hey, let's go do this. I'm like, yeah, I like golf. Let's try it.
Yeah.
We went into an X Golf. The next day, I looked up the franchise and I said, oh my God, this would kill, right?
Yeah.
Not knowing anything about it, not knowing, what it was going to cost or exactly how you would do it. And just kind of started it from there. They were super motivated to get into California.
Nice.
This is not a market where they're at.
Yep.
I mean, I think I was store number 86.
Nice.
They're up to, in build, I think right now, they're 156
Oh,
or
wow,
something
okay,
like
yeah.
that. And I've only been open, 2 years, little less than 2 years. So they're growing quickly.
Yeah.
Started talking to them, brought in some partners that were interested in getting involved. Started to go from there. You crunch numbers and you go, man, I could make some money doing this, and then you work through. I mean, it really took 2 full years before I had something that was real, like maybe a spot, and all that stuff. And then you got to find the right spot. You got to find the right deal. It's not a very efficient use of a piece of retail space.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a good restaurant could do a lot more turnover.
Yeah.
So you got to find a landlord that's like, okay, I see what you got and I see why I want it versus another restaurant.
Versus just someone to
this
pay rent, right? Or
yeah, this
lease.
space. I won't name the company.
It
but,
was a restaurant, wasn't it?
well, it was a Chili's.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a Chili's for many years. It had been closed a while. There was a deal for this space for a well-known brewery. So a name brewery, I won't name it. It had been in place for a while. They were trying to work out the lease arrangements, and they just decided we're going to keep it open for somebody else, and they liked us a lot better.
Yeah.
So, it's sort of in that. It literally is there's got to be something better than my garage.
Yeah.
Falls into a net.
Yep.
I think jumping way forward now. I've had 2 members here, and I do a lot of different things here, and I have memberships and get people in, and I've had 2 members now that have stopped their membership because they built one in their house, right? And they asked me for advice on it and everything, and I have no issue with that. I'm really proud of the fact that I'm like, it's legit, right? Like you feel it's legit.
Yeah.
I tell them, got to remember what you're doing at your house is not commercial grade.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind too.
And
right?
you don't have the space. You don't have, or if you put in your garage or your, there's just a lot of factors.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
each one of these, right? We're sitting in a bay right now, but it's a real simple formula. I actually designed the place myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So engineer by trade. This is not my day job.
Yeah,
this is a side gig.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty big side gig.
Well, I was gonna say that's a crazy side hustle for sure.
I don't do anything halfway apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm an engineer. So I just give me the plans. I'm gonna lay it out and figure out where everything goes and figure out how to make the space work. 17 feet wide by 25 feet deep is what you need for each one of these.
Okay.
That's a big piece of space, right? You include the furniture and the walk-by space and all that stuff. I barely made it.
I was gonna say, was there ever a time where you had maybe so there's for everyone there's 7 bays here.
Yep.
And was there ever a time you tried to or could have fit 8?
I could have fit 8.
Or
I
it just
could have
wasn't.
fit 8. It would have been an added expense to fit 8.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You kind of look at it as like, well, what can you really run this business based on utilization. You don't expect 100% utilization. So it starts to skew the numbers. I mean, in the peak times, you do great, but I would have lost a lot of the flow and the lounge feel. And there's a lot of things that we do here that parties and stuff where people are like, oh, it's too cramped.
Yeah.
It's too cramped to do a party there. So I think it worked out okay. There's stores that have done 11.
Wow.
Yeah, some big stores. I'm real close with a store owner in New York, and we started up at about the same time, right? So we were kind of therapists for each other because that's how it had to be at the beginning.
Yeah.
And he's got 10. He converted an old Walgreens, I think, into an X.G.O.L.F. freestanding building.
Big,
Those are big spaces.
Yeah.
But he's like, I would have loved to have done 11, but I couldn't fit it. So it's surprising how big and when you walk through the space before we outfitted it, you're like, oh,
this is huge, right? Yeah.
And then you put all this stuff in it, and you're like, it's kind of cramped.
This is tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So, how did I? It's you take your shot in life, right? Take your shot in a lot of different ways, and you it's a franchise, and there's some benefits to doing the franchise, right? You get a little bit of something served to you on a platter. This is what you do. This is what you don't do, and there's a bit of a safety net there too. Of they don't want you to fail. Yeah, they will work with you to make sure you succeed. Yeah. So helps a lot. That does help a lot. You pay them a little something for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, do you think let's say if you had started on your own, you created, your not X.G.O.L.F, but your golf simulator.
Yep. And I thought about doing it.
Yeah.
I looked at that route.
Yeah. Do you think you would have been as successful, or maybe you would have given up, or it just maybe that helped you having X.G.O.L.F?
I think I could have made it work. I think that the brand did very little for me within the state here, right? Nobody knows it.
There's no
right?
footprint. Yeah.
You go to Illinois, you go to Michigan, you go to Ohio, it has a brand name. It is, people understand it. They know it. You can be in Chicago and there's one of these stores 5 miles away from another one, right? And there's something to that. And then they can do cooperative marketing and they can do that kind of thing. So yeah, I was kind of on my own in that way. So, can you do it yourself? Yes. Can you do it for a little cheaper? Maybe not. And that was the bottom line is you got to spend a good amount of money on these things to make sure they hold up. And then you got to do all the tech support yourself.
Oh.
Right? Here, we have a problem. There's a guy I call, and he taps right into him.
Oh,
and he
nice.
will say, "This is what's wrong. Here's
Oh,
what you need to
yeah.
replace."
I see, yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yep.
We have his number in the wall in the kitchen. Call if you can't figure it out. But they are, and apologies to anybody that's come in and not experienced this. They're pretty damn reliable.
Yeah.
There's a couple little things that happen once in a while. They just keep going and going.
Yeah.
I just spend a lot of money on golf balls.
Yeah. I was going to say, I was like, well, where do they disappear to, or what, or do they just, or where?
Where? They wear out, they're good golf. We use TaylorMade TP5 golf balls, and they're good golf balls. But a golf ball only really has about 100 hits in it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one. And then, they're nice golf balls. So, people pocket them. I'm sure they do. But I can tell you this. Yeah. If we ever end up tearing this place down, they're going to find at least 1,000 golf balls.
I was going to say,
they're everywhere.
In the walls, behind the screen.
They're everywhere.
We few embedded in the wall.
Probably.
Yeah.
I've had full-size golf ball holes in the wall, so I would definitely think they're in there. It'll be an interesting thing when that happens. But you do that, you get, like everything else, the turf and and tees and there's that part of it, but you figure it out. It's not a cost that you spend it because you want to present a good product. Yeah. You don't want to be wasteful, but you want to present a good product and make sure you have what you need. And it's like every other small business now. There's so many aspects to this, so many layers of the golf side of it, and then so many layers of the business side of it. I do have a business background. I've never run a small business, but I've run some very large P&Ls. Yeah. So, I knew the basics of, okay, here's what we need to do to run the business. Here's what our labor percentage.
You knew where to start, right?
Yeah, it was. I didn't go into it blind, right? Yeah, I'm a analytics guy. Yeah. Like here's how many hours I need to rent out. Here's the average cost I have to do it at. Yeah. Really, really simply put. And those are the metrics that I measure every month and say, did we hit, miss, exceed, and why. You can do that, but so that's like the golf side of it, and then you've got the beverage side, right? Which is not really that hard, and it's good money maker. And then you have the food side, which is awful. Yeah, I was gonna say it's awful.
Yeah, I remember you. So when we first, because I came, when you guys first opened, and we had food. There was appetizers, food.
I had 3 phases. Yeah. I'm not even on year 2, and I've had 3 phases of my. I built out a kitchen. Wouldn't do it again. Yeah. Started figuring, I'm just going to keep it really simple and just hire high school kids, kind of thing. Just prep the food, put it in a little oven, just put it on a plate. Disaster. Yeah. Absolute disaster. I couldn't imagine, yeah. I was pulling my hair out, and I'm very, careful about food safety and doing all that stuff, and it was really interesting to me. But if you kill it in the food business, you make a 5% margin. Yeah. And it's if you know what you're doing. Yeah. Right. So, kind of had a disaster on my hands as the food wasn't great. It wasn't well consistently prepared. We were wasting a lot. Yeah. Right. So I decided, all right, let's go all, and I brought in some restaurant people. I brought in people with, restaurant experience. Really turned out to be a family that worked in here, and they turned that around, right? And food was great.
Yeah.
I think if you'd come in 6 months after we opened, I mean, I started getting compliments on the food. Food is great. It's good. Here's the thing, though.
Not everybody buys it, right?
Not everybody buys it. People don't come here to eat.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
eat when they're here.
Yeah.
But like, we have 6 restaurants in the same building right here, and I kind of made that realization. I'm like, why am I trying to compete as a restaurant when I got restaurants around me that could use more business?
Yeah.
Right. So we ended up partnering with one of the restaurants here, and very happy with it. I mean, it just
I think it was the best move. Yeah, for sure.
Just not losing money on it is enough, right? For me, and it's not you don't make the experience perfect, but people get it, and there's options, and the food's good, and they focus on the food, and I focus on the on the customer service
and
side
entertainment,
of it. And it in California, in some states, in some places, I mean, this is an automated bit. It's got to be as automated as we can.
Yeah.
And, not without revealing my secrets. I mean, a good restaurant, almost always has 8 to 15 people on staff at all times. I mean, I run this place at like one and a half people.
Yeah.
At any given time. Now it hurts us once in a while, but for the most part, we figured, there are days, and it's probably next week with the rain coming in, that I'll probably have to have 2, maybe 3 in. But I mean, you got to keep that under control so that I can keep the prices of doing this under control.
Yeah.
It's a lot of levers to pull.
Yeah.
And you got to do it. You just got to keep pulling on it. And
like I said, you got to kind of roll with it and learn, and
hope something doesn't break.
Hope.
Yeah, and then just take a step back, and then kind of keep powering forward. But
have you had any major accidents? Knock on wood. Sorry about that. I didn't mean
anybody getting hurt?
Well, no, like any damaged equipment or.
Yeah, we've had a few things. I mean, we've had some ripped screens. Gone through about 6 touchscreen monitors.
Oh, okay.
Right, people swinging,
a
little loose, and it's a bit of a side effect of the fact that we're in a little bit of a too small space for what we're doing, just a little, and people, walk through a bar, on a night with a full set of golf clubs.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
It's just it's totally Chevy Chase. Everything's coming off the bar.
Yeah.
So we have that. We've had some, equipment breakdowns, and it's like anything else. It's it's like your house. Sometimes the furnace goes out. And you're cursing about a few $1,000 you got to put out. It's the same thing here. I had a good month, and then it went away. So.
Well, that's good. It doesn't sound like it's anything too crazy.
No, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
it's not too bad. But knock on wood. No major accidents. We've gotten some funny stuff on the security cameras.
Oh
yeah, which is great, and people like it, and everybody's been a good sport. We've had 2 marriage proposals here.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
dang.
So I'm really happy.
This is a spot.
Yeah, 2, and we caught them on video, and we
Nice.
posted them on Instagram, and they were happy to be involved in it. So there's something about this bay that we're in right now. There's this one and the one on the other end that's a mirror of it. It's intimate, right?
Oh,
People want to. It's like they have a little private space. So, they're okay with it's different.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. I mean, my biggest challenge this place right now is figure out what to do with that big old patio that I have outside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, getting people out there and doing something.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's true.
Yeah, it's hard.
So it's interesting because in my own mind, before you opened this place, I had just thought, I was like, because I've always thought of myself as like entrepreneur spirit. Like I'm always thinking like, oh, what could do well in this neighborhood? And I had thought, I'm like, there's no simulators around.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I thought that, you opened, and then all these breweries started putting them in. And I think it just caught. Yeah. And maybe we all saw the same thing that triggered, that thought or whatever. But I was very happy to see that. I was like, oh, this is going to do well. I thought the same thing.
Well, and you're such a growing region here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've only lived here 9 years now.
Yeah.
And in El Dorado Hills, and by the way, I don't think I could have made it work any other way. I literally live a mile from here, right?
Yeah.
And And if anybody's thinking of doing this and say, I'll do it across, I'm like,
You need to be close.
boy, you need to be close first. Like right now, I can be pretty hands off, but man, that first year was a lot of trucking back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, multiple times a day. You know, walking out of the house at, you know, right after dinner with my wife and kids, and going, I'm just gonna make a quick run over there. My wife looked at me, we'll see you at midnight. Yeah.
Yeah,
She knew.
yeah.
She gave me a lot of space on
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
She's been
that's
very,
good, yeah.
very, very supportive.
Had to be understanding, right?
Yeah.
And supportive.
Yeah, supportive. And she comes in and enjoys it too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but it was, created a lot of tension
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Well,
I do think, to your point, we're going to see more of this stuff in the area. I think it's a mindset, and golf has become all about access.
Yep.
Not just, I think that's what makes us different here is, look, man, you're never going to see another golf course go up in the Sacramento area.
Yeah.
The land's too
Yeah,
valuable. It's
everyone's
too,
building houses, if anything. Yeah.
It's not the best use of the land. If it existed already, you'll hopefully places will upgrade, and you know, but you're not going to see another one. You're probably going to see these micro courses, which is what it is, right? And you know, I think it'll be pretty pervasive as time goes on, and people are like, oh, you know, you're going to get competition at some point. I'm like, I don't really view it that way. It's legitimizes it, right? It becomes a mindset, and people are looking. Guy runs into some other place and goes, oh, I heard there's one up in Dorado Hills. Let's go check that one out now, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of get that, you get the bug about it.
Well,
so.
and I have friends now that live in the Sacramento area or Arden area, and now they come up here because they're like, oh, well, it's not that far, and it's really nice to get around in an hour, hour and a half. You're back, you know. A lot of guys who have kids are loving it.
Yeah, well,
you get your fix, and you know.
Yeah,
go back home.
I mean, that's one of the sales points, right? It's like, you know, come in and get your round in an hour, hour and a half. Get your golf in, get all your swings in. Don't spend the 5 hours out on the golf course, right? And I mean, I enjoy those 5-hour sessions on the golf course.
I know,
it just, you know, it kills a whole.
There's no replacing it, but it's at least you can get your fix here. Yeah.
I'm not saying, you know, I
You're not
never
trying
sold that. You know, people say, come here instead of there. It's definitely a place for both. And, you know, the local golfers here recognize that very fast. And even the local courses, you know, the country clubs in the area have been super supportive of us. Super. And you know, some of the other store owners are like, how did you create a relationship with them? I'm like, I just invited them in, you know? And it's just like, we're all promoting the game of golf. Right? All aspects of it. You know? That's really what it's all about. You know, if I had a member here just a few weeks ago who called me one day, he's like, man, I'm sorry, I got to cancel my membership. I said, hey, could you mind me asking why? He says, joined Serrano. I finally, you know, I finally pulled the plug. And he's like, you really kind of triggered me back to the game. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's good, because I'll find somebody else to replace that.
Well, and not only that, how many people is he going to tell about X-Golf, right? So, I mean, just as many people, I mean, that I brought here, one, and then two I've told about. I mean, you know, so.
And I mean, there's the technical side of it too, right? The sales side is come in, you get all the analytics, you get stuff you can't get hitting it into a big field. But, and you don't have to sell that. Golfers recognize it themselves. It's just make a nice space where they're comfortable, and they're gonna get that, right? And so again, we talked a little before we started this about advertising and how do you get your name out. You do it the old-fashioned way. You do it by meeting people, by giving them good experiences and making sure they tell everybody they know. I've got these little trifold brochures up the front. I go through a couple thousand a year. If you walk in here, you don't leave without one, right? And it's like, a brochure that's this big, not a business card that falls. It's like that ends up somewhere. And, you know, as I tried all the magazine stuff and a little radio, really, for a small business, as we are a small business, it's a really big number. And I can't deny that it does work. but there's never an ROI that makes sense
Yeah.
out of it,
Yeah.
right? It's like if I'm 80% full, I'm not going to pay a bunch of money to get that extra 20%,
Yep.
right? Let's just let that kind of grow naturally. But having said all that, you know, I work a Saturday once in a while, I work a Sunday once in a while. Sometimes I'll just, in the week, as I work from home a lot, I'll just be like, I'm going to open tomorrow morning and just meet some customers I've never met before. And I will get almost invariably somebody walk in and go, I had no idea this was here, a golfer.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, it still happens after 2
Yeah.
years, right?
Oh, yeah.
I've lived here my whole life. I had no idea. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's the way it is, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like I knew about it, but definitely with my acquaintances and through work and through golf,
Yeah.
I mean, I found out about you guys.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And even before the podcast, had played here a few times, and just enjoyed the experience. So.
You know what's funny is before we opened, but we knew we were opening. Like, you know, I had the business cards made. Like, we're doing this, right? We used to, like everybody else, go to Empire Ranch and go on a driving range, hit some balls. Like, after work, let's go just hit some balls. We don't have time to play. And one of my partners, you know, fairly aggressive, kind of he's like, bring your business cards. And he'd walk up and down the line, right? And I'm like, I don't know if we should be doing this. And he's like, oh, no. So we play there, we're leaving them in every golf cart. But here's the thing, right? What I realized really quickly is we would sit and explain it to people. And they look at us and they go, we have no idea what you're talking about because it's so new.
So new, yeah.
I'm like, just come check it out when you can. It's indoor golf, like mini golf, like what, you know. We had somebody come from the steakhouse below early when we were open, and they came up to check us out because they were asking the waitress down there. No offense to her, great. I'm sure she's a great girl.
Yeah.
They said, hey, what is upstairs? And they're like, she's like, it's some sort of golf place. But I don't even think it's real. There's not real balls or anything like that.
All virtual reality.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. You put goggles on or something.
That's what she said? Or something like that? Yeah.
You know, I should have got a quote from her because it's funny. But, you know, I think that was the level of, like, people would just, you know, almost like a dog kind of look at you sideways, like, what the heck are you talking about? So I think in time that's going to change. As you said, you see a lot of the beer places. I mean, beer and golf works. Works really, really well, right?
Yep.
So you're going to see more of that. And I just feel like it's really simple. It's opportunities, you know. Some opens up close by, you know, similar place to what we're doing. First thing I'm going to do is reach out and say, you know what, you guys going to run a league? I said, let's do X-Golf versus your company. Let's do a little competition thing. You know what I mean? Let's create some buzz around it. There's plenty for everybody, you know?
Yeah, no, I believe that too. And I love that that's your attitude because, like you said, even with the courses around here, they're going to back you.
Of course.
You know?
More golf.
Yeah, exactly. If there's another opportunity, I think everyone is, at least around here and in the Sacramento area, and everyone I've met is like what you said. They're just willing to help. Like, you know, you've been willing to help me, you know, which I'm grateful for. So just the little things.
Well, and that's it. It's you got to think the big picture of it, and you got to think about, you know, this business is a limited service, right? I have 7 golf simulators, and you have both extremes that happen, right? Great example is last weekend, right? Friday afternoon, 75 degrees, not a bit of wind, had been dry for a little while. Courses are in beautiful condition right now, right? Middle of February, right? Slow. Slow. I mean, we did fine. We had, you know, got dark at 5:30, 6 o'clock. People were in here. You know, we had people coming in with their family. We just want to try it out. We do just fine on those days. But the flip side of it, you know, I think for me, the stars were aligned right last year. That first year where it's make or break, right? The first year. I don't know if you remember, it rained every weekend. Every single weekend.
You did catch, that's right. Because I know, because I was trying to play golf.
Yeah,
I remember that.
yeah.
And
And it was like, okay, we're ready for the weekend,
Yeah.
right? And the rain's coming in.
Yeah.
This year's the opposite. It hasn't rained a weekend yet,
Yeah.
right? It's middle of the week, which is fine. You know, we
rained a
we
little on
figure
Sunday this week.
This
but yeah.
week, yeah.
But other than that, yeah.
And we
not
sold out
much.
Sunday,
Yep.
you know. So for the most part, though, it's skipped the weekends,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's appreciative of that. But, you know, here's the thing. It's like we have a day like that, you know, it gets a little cold, and it's been raining for a while, and it's on. I mean, you wake up and you're like, holy cow, there's
All the
2
bookings.
hours available on the tee sheet right now,
Yeah.
right? And you know, we staff with somebody on the phone, just taking calls. No, we don't have anything available. Put you on the wait list.
Yeah.
You know, and those days they're a lot of fun. They are, you know, it's not just about, you know, it's not just about the turnover for the day, you know, how much you brought in. Yes, you need that. You got to keep the business going, but they can be so much fun because you get groups of people in here. They start interacting with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. There's business happening in some cases. There's families reconnecting.
Yep.
There's a local, like this, you get this little community dynamic here, and then of course you get the guys that come in and are pissed off because, you know, like got to kick them off after 2 hours when their booking was an hour and a half. You gave them an extra half hour, and they're like, "No, we're staying," and I'm like, "You can't do it."
Yeah.
You
like
know?
there's another group.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, but somebody else already paid,
yeah.
and
or they're trying to
get
like
it.
2 more holes. Like,
2 more holes. Oh my God, just one more hole.
Yeah.
There's
How
a
many
lot.
times you hear? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, if you see, you can't. You guys won't be able to see it, but on the wall right below the little light switches right there, we actually put timers up for really busy
I did see
days.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we won't
you
hardly
know.
use it, but
Yeah.
we'll say people, you got an hour and a half. We're starting a timer. Come around, we give them a 10-minute warning or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's like
So they
they will say, we didn't know. I'm like,
yeah.
You know,
You didn't know when you booked the
Yeah.
certain time.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like, sorry. Oh
Yeah.
man, and what we call it is the 15-minute delay. So you have to manage the day. We put no breaks between the bookings, and that's what you got to do.
yeah.
But eventually, on a really busy day, you're going to get 15 minutes behind, and then you're managing that with everybody that comes in. Sorry, we're running 15 minutes behind. So we've gotten pretty darn good at
Giving them that
sure
warning.
that doesn't happen. You
Yeah.
know, fortunately, closing them out a little early so they can kind of shuffle them off. And,
Yeah.
but I will say this. I mean, it's like any other business. People, for the most part, have been absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's our staff. Our staff is pretty solid. You know, they all are very charismatic. They're all very caring and nice, and that's the key. You need somebody that's just, you know, hospitable.
Yeah.
Not just not service oriented,
yeah.
but hospitable. And people, you know, are good for the most part. But I think for the most people come in here and they recognize this is a small business. This is family owned. It's a local, like, you know, you're not trying to take down some big conglomerate.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You complaining is just
You're not
hurting.
trying to. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not trying to
some
reinvent
local
the
guy.
wheel or trying to
Yeah, I mean,
take over. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not, you know, evil empire.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So you know, I've appreciated that, you know, and God, I couldn't, you know, my email marketing list now is over 8,000 people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay?
Yeah.
Which tells me that I've probably met, you know, in the time I've been able to be here, and I spent a lot of time early on here. I mean, 5,000 people.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy 5,000 people, right? And just can't remember. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I just kind of work through that, but that is special
Yeah.
to me. You know, that's kind of what it's all about. You know, if I never make a dime and it just survives, I'll be like, it still was worth it.
Still, yeah. You said, yeah.
Yeah.
You like you said, like maybe you built another community, or you built another,
Whatever.
you know,
Yeah.
another group from it, or you know,
Who
went somewhere
knows?
use, or
Who
yeah,
knows?
or
Yeah.
it took you somewhere you didn't know it was going to take you.
That's
or,
exactly
yeah.
it. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my 19-year-old daughter now is away at college. She took her first job here,
Yeah.
and you know, another layer of stories, right? Her first job on her resume was X.Golf, and she was a junior server here because she was under 21. She could only work with somebody else, and very, very customer friendly, very charismatic. She goes to school in Monterey.
Yeah.
She looked for a job when she got there. She got hired as a host at Monterey Peninsula Country Club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's perfect. Yeah.
That's pretty elite, right?
Yeah.
She loves it. She's like, I like it a lot better than X.Golf. I'm like, well,
Yeah. I would too. Yeah.
these people
They probably
could
tip
buy
better, yeah.
X.Golf
Yeah.
with what's in the change in the their couch, But
Yeah,
so
I've
it's-
only driven by and like peeked in, from the gate. So,
yeah.
so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and she's enjoying that, and it's sort of starting. And then I've got a 17-year-old who's going to start her first summer job here, right? And just to me, it you do that kind of thing, and it helps out. One of my partners, his daughter, works here once in a while, and that's the family aspect
Yeah,
of it,
no,
right?
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I have seen, since I think you stopped doing food, I've seen that consistency since, I think we started filming here in September-ish,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
And just with the staff and everybody, like you said, super nice, everyone's super welcoming,
Yep.
but just consistency, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Among everybody.
Yep. There's not.
So-
Yeah. It's way simpler.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
right? It's a very simple, not a lot of training involved. When we hire somebody new, it's a 3-shift overlap and teaches them everything they need to know, and they're off to the races. And they do work hard. We don't have a lot of people standing around.
Yeah.
But it's a minimum wage job. It never needs to be more than that because they do well with tips.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how I hire very strategically for people that's like certain times of the day. We're open 14 hours a day every day, right? So it's a lot of time to fill, but the person I normally put on the morning shift is not the person I put on a Friday night close.
Yeah.
It's a totally different type
Yeah.
of person,
Yep.
right?
So I did, so real quick, you did say that, so I noticed you guys open at 8 o'clock now?
8 in the morning, yeah.
So is that going to be continuous, or is that just a seasonal?
Well, I
or
have
a trial.
Yeah, we have no choice. I committed to that because what we started doing, and we talked a little bit about a business like this, like the layers, right? There's a food and a beverage and the golf. Well, no, it's way more layered than that, right? But one of my frustrations when I first opened is I said, okay, we're going to open at 10 a.m. a reasonable time, and it comes down to how you break up shifts during the day, and I kind of figured out a way to keep the shifts. So I said we'll open at 10 a.m. and Monday through, really 7 days a week.
Yeah.
We actually weren't open on Tuesdays when we first opened up. We said we need a break day to figure things out.
Especially if you're here every day. And
We
here
had
till
no
midnight.
idea. Like a sim would stop working, right? And it'd take 2 hours for us to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Now sim stops working, and I'm like, tap your heel once, do this. Like,
yeah.
It's working.
You know
again.
the secret,
Oh yeah. So there was a lot of that going on. So we'd have maintenance day, and we'd come in and we all do maintenance and figure it out. But so I was open at 10 every day. Never got anybody before 2 ever. Like it was like one person come in or whatever, and I'm like, so we pushed it back to noon, and did that for quite a long time. And then when last winter hit, I said, okay, it's time of year. Let's go to 8 a.m. Crickets all winter long. Just maybe a person here or there, mostly seniors that would come in, most of them on fixed income. It's expensive to do this. It's expensive to do this. Just walk in and do it.
Yeah.
There's a cost associated with it, and they couldn't do it a lot. And I started developing somewhat of a relationship with some of them, and over the summer, a few of them reached out to me and said, let's talk about having a morning sort of a membership thing, something that's, so I started crunching the numbers, say, okay, what do I need to just get the place open?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just get the place open and have it accessible to everybody. And I actually worked with a couple of my customers, and I proposed a few things, little senior discount, here's what to expect, and talked to them, and I said, yeah, but I'll get some food and beverage. And they said, no. They were right. They're like, nobody's going to buy anything.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to buy anything, right? And they're right. They're like, we're not coming in, once in a while, a beer or Bloody Mary or something, but like, don't just go off of what you're
Yeah, just go
charging
golf.
people.
Yeah.
I said, all right, well, this winter we'll come up with something and we'll try it again. And I said, all I need to do is sell 25 of these memberships, right? And I'm covering my costs, and I'm opening it to public, and we're good to go. I mean, I'm paying the rent no matter what,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Really what it is turning the lights on and
Overhead,
having
yeah.
somebody stand out
Yep.
front, right? Started that early December before I kind of got my act together and put it out there. I had 50 members by the end of the month.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And we're actually going to start shutting down that morning membership, because if you look at our tee sheet, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they can't get in. They're all booked out, right? And I'm like, okay, now I need to either expand the hours or just kind of shut it down. And I think I'd rather create a scarcity
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Say, let's just leave it at that. And then as summer comes along, either I'm going to keep opening at 8 a.m. and I'll do a survey. I will literally reach out to them and say, here, I'm thinking of doing this.
Yeah.
Or I'll shift those hours a little bit, right? Instead of 8 to 12, you can come in 10 to 2.
Yeah.
You just flex. You talk to your customers.
Yeah.
You're not going to make everybody happy, but you kind of figure it out. And the demographic that we get, the corporate will tell you your demographic is males 25 to 65, right? Or 25 to 60.
It's like what you see on the
it
golf
is.
course, right?
Exactly.
That's what they think.
This is your demographic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't tell me enough.
Yeah.
Right? It's granular in a totally different way. And if you look out on the golf course, look at who you're seeing at different times.
Yeah.
What are they doing? And start to study that and figure out, you've got the morning membership group that I described. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I got some young morning members that just appreciate it for the fact that they can come in and hit some balls before they go do whatever they do for work and just be out of here, right? And there's no fluff. There's just, I hit 50, 60 balls and I'm done.
Out by 9.
Yeah. They're out by, by 8:30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 30 minutes and they're out the door. And so you get the practice guy, comes in, wants to hit balls, wants to practice, it's just not economical to pay the full rate.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't want to share it with anybody.
Yeah.
You have to make it accessible to those people.
Yep.
And then you've got, the family that comes in on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, right? And they've got kids and they need more time and they're only doing it once in a while. And that's a different, you offer them, you got to figure out a way to offer them something that works for them.
Yeah.
Right. That's where Pete's and the food comes in. It's like, oh, the kids, how many chicken wings do I say? It's ridiculous. Chicken tenders are like, half of what we sell is chicken tenders.
So it's probably chicken tenders and pizza. Huh?
Yeah. A lot of pizza, a lot of chicken tenders.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and so you got to have all of those aspects, and then you've got the weekday guys that come in after work, right? And they may be doing some, and then I get, realtors that come in and bring clients in, and then, I get the league guys, right? Competitive, some are competitive, some not. I have probably done official birthday parties here. I'm going to guess I arranged in about a year's time, I probably arranged myself 30 to 35 of them, right? Okay. People reach out, I'm doing my birthday party, make something.
Yeah.
I would say it's triple to quadruple that in reality.
Oh, smokes.
Sunday night, I came in, had to meet with some of the staff. I walked over in the corner. They're like, hey, there's a birthday party going on back there. And there's some guys in here. It was his birthday. And I just walked and I just hung out with them. They're like, hit some balls with them. No, I'm not going to do that. But talked to them for a while. But, birthday parties, bachelor parties, guys, Folsom Ranch.
Oh, yeah. They got a whole,
Yeah, they do a nice little thing here once in a while. And it's exactly like we just talked about, right? They started doing it once a month here. And they realized, let's do this and the green grass too, right? And perfect, right? Just make your group stronger. Make me a part of that. All those guys brought back. Every one of those people brought back their family. Brought back somebody else that they talked about. So, Yeah, there's a little bit for everybody here, you know.
Yeah, I think so.
And we keep working on that.
Is
like-
there an age limit? Do you technically have an age limit? Because I've never seen, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure most people know, right? Or you would assume.
I've had
Yeah.
little
Oh, yeah.
ones here.
Okay.
Yeah. So when people ask, and if you actually book, 16 and under needs to be supervised by an adult.
Okay.
That's all we ask, right? And I have a lot of video of 18 months old, you know, trying to hit the ball.
Yeah.
Well, you saw the kids program that we do
Oh,
here
yeah.
in the
Yep.
week, right? I mean, today I think was just the older kids, but at 4:00, it's little
Yeah,
ones.
little tykes,
Yeah,
yeah.
real little tykes, right? And it's less about the golf and
Yeah.
more about, you know,
having
everything
fun,
they're teaching
yeah.
them about life and
Yeah,
all that,
yeah,
you know, that
yeah.
stuff, being responsible and extension of school.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that's the key is can't be a one-trick pony. Although I can tell you on a real rainy, ugly Saturday afternoon, the one trick works pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's all you offer,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
it's like, no, your rates are at their max. This is what you offer. All the restrictions are in place. We're charging for everything that we do.
Yeah.
Then you got to flex out of that, you know, at other times. I'm just starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like I'm getting to the point now where I can look at it and go, you know, another pitch for you. You know, I'm pitching myself here a lot.
Yeah, no, of
Tuesdays and
course.
Wednesdays during the day. Today was decent. You know, we had a good crowd most of the day, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays are clearly the hardest day, right? It's like Mondays are the country club is closed Mondays, so we get some people in here.
Okay.
Extension of the weekend, all that stuff. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are always the slowest days. Thursdays it starts to heat up a little bit. Fridays are good. Saturdays are good. Sundays are now. This turns out to be a place to be. It's been real consistent.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, what can we do to spur that? So a lot of the places all summer long they do a BOGO, right? You buy 1 hour, you get your second hour free. Just extend it. I'm like, best thing for me to do is let me just do that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
But there's stipulation. You got to prepay, right? So you prepay it. I'll give you that half off thing, right? And I think I put that out in the ether. I haven't even announced it yet. I just made a booking type where somebody can go in and see it, and I describe it in the booking type.
Okay, yeah.
I had 3 bookings that way today.
That's awesome,
I'm
yeah.
like, that's what you got to do, and then
Yeah.
you see how it moves. You know, we just want people in.
You just kind of let it more organically grow
Yeah.
rather than,
Yeah. And with all that stuff, you know, I sound like a genius. 8 out of 10 things we try fail miserably.
Hasn't worked, yeah.
And that's okay, right? It's like...
Yeah, no one sees all that. They see what worked, right?
That's
And
right.
they see like, oh my gosh, you're killing it.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes they see what doesn't work.
Yeah.
But, you know, you just got to be a big boy and just go, yep, we tried that didn't work, you know, and other store owners go, I did this and it worked great. And I'm like, Dad, it just didn't work here. And we could never figure out why, but it didn't. So, you know, I think the competitive side of the area is coming out too. I think we're starting to see more engagement with our competitive play, the league stuff, a little tournament here once in a while. People are like, yeah, let's do that. You know, I really realized that I have to not only make that competitive, but I have to give away something good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I started with it. I'm like, what's the prizes? I'm like, well, bragging rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's nice.
yeah.
It's
But,
a plaque
you
on the
know.
wall. Yeah, it's nice, but all right. Our league winners get full TaylorMade drivers this round.
Oh, nice.
Right. Oh yeah, tripled.
Oh, I
our
bet
league
you.
interest.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And we just posted. We're going into the playoff rounds here next week. And we just posted the leaderboard, and there was a lot of chatter. Like, oh man, you know who's getting it? So and we do.
Does everyone make the playoffs?
Yeah, we do. As long as you played a minimum of, like, we have an 8-week regular season.
Yeah.
As long as you played at least 5 weeks in the season, but I might even go to 6 this next time.
But then the worst team is playing the best team, right? So
We don't do I tried that bracket system.
oh, so you're just doing straight score.
So what we're doing is we do we do an 8-week regular season. Here's how we run our leagues. A little different than most, but we do an 8-week regular season, and it's a scramble, 2-man scrambles, it's 2-man teams, and we bring them in. We play a different course every week, because most of our demographic is young professionals, middle-aged professionals, people have jobs, have to get on an airplane. I mean, this is community where there's a lot of tech workers and stuff.
Yeah.
We give them a flex option. So it's Monday night, but if you can't make it Monday night, make it up sometime during the week. And you post a score as your scramble team, and we keep a leaderboard. And we do 8 weeks of regular season. We give a little prize for not just the best team in the regular season, but interesting other things too. Most improved,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, something that just kind of gets everybody engaged. But after 8 weeks, we set a handicap for the teams. So you look at it all, and I have a handicap formula for it. Now your team has a handicap of, you know, +6 or -6 or whatever it is. Then you go in the playoffs, because we do have some ringers.
Yeah.
You know, playoffs, we give prizes for the low gross, prizes for the low net, right? So you walk into a 36-hole playoff round, and anybody can win. Everybody's on an even keel, right?
I like that. It's more like an actual tournament. You play everybody, right?
And, you know, it's a scramble, and, you know, historically charity scrambles are guys shooting 50, right? And it's like, nah, you didn't really shoot 50.
No,
Here, we put 2 teams in each bay. They keep each other really honest.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
bet.
even this guy was sandbagging. It's like, well, look, he can sandbag if he wants, but unless he gets away with that all year long, we're throwing out the worst.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bell curve thing,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, it works. It works, and we're trying to mature that a little bit more.
Well, and I don't know if I believe in the sandbagger on the simulator, only because there are good golfers that I know who are not good on the simulator.
Yeah.
And then there's
Bad golfers
really
who
bad
are
golfers
great.
who are great.
Yeah.
And they shoot like 72, like no problem.
Yeah.
And so I get that. And then maybe that one time who that good golfer played horrible this whole time and then finally got it, right? That one day or focused more. Or
I have
whatever it is.
found for the most part the really good golfers here, they don't take but a week or two to figure it out and get really good at it.
Yeah. It took me about 3 full rounds to actually get the putting, get the chipping.
Yeah, the short game is quite a bit different. Yeah, I admittedly it can only be so realistic.
Yeah. How many greens I flew the first few times I played?
Or trying to do a bump bump and run it onto the green and it goes like 6 inches. Yeah, you're like, don't bump and run.
Yeah.
Or
it was in putter mode, or it was in sandwich mode, and you're putting.
It's
there's a learning curve for sure.
It's like a video game. I mean, look, I always tell people they're like, "Was it video game?" I'm like, it's very much like a video game, but you need a good golf swing.
You still need to hit it.
You still need a good golf swing,
Yeah.
right? You still need, as witnessed by, I patched that wall right there 3 times now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, thank God for gypsum board, man. It can take it, right? But, I mean, so many shanks into the walls.
It's funny you commented on that because last time we were here, I was like, I think those holes are new, but it's because you keep patching them. Now it makes sense.
I think you came at one time because I came in one weekend and did all the spackling.
Yeah.
And then it took me like 2 weeks to get back to it and paint it, right?
Yeah.
So it looked like a war zone here for a little bit, and then we just paint it up.
And I would think you're safe there, but I guess not.
I don't know what it is. This bay's really bad. Take care. Good to see you.
Good looking out.
All right. Drive safe, please.
That's what happens. Chuck knows everybody here, so
I do. Yeah, I do. I keep an eye on people, and
you still got to check on the people.
And I'll get them a designated drive. I'll call them an Uber when I need to.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that either. So it's I mean, you talk about the people we know and people we met. I think one of a lot of arguments about what to do and how to keep people in, but one of the best things we've done is a membership program. Make it affordable for people, make them feel special, give them some advantage coming in, and they develop kind of a relationship with the place.
Yeah.
And, we're not a country club. I'm not pretending to be a country club, right? I'm trying to keep the place clean and pretty nice, and there's nothing, there's nothing exclusive about it. It's more access driven. And it works. It works. And I think I wouldn't want a business like this that was only members. I wouldn't want a business like this that was no members. The franchise has no formula for membership. Like everybody's doing it and they all do it in a different way. I'm not sure I've figured out the best way to do it. The numbers crunch the way they should, so I'm going to keep going. But you know, I think you have to take advantage of all that. I mean,
Yeah.
Father's Day here was just phenomenal. You know, it was the first. We've only run one because we opened in late July, and then Father's Day snuck up on me. I'm like, you know, so we just got through Mother's Day, and there wasn't a soul in here on Mother's
Yeah.
Day.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
It was like,
Well,
okay.
like,
And I did a
so-
whole bunch of advertising. It's Mother's Day.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody came in, right? And I'm like,
so
oh, Father's
now
Day
you know
would be
next
the
year's
same.
like, let's just
Father's Day would be the
call it a
same.
day, yeah.
It was
pass.
wall to wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now I know.
Yeah.
You know, now I know what people are.
I mean, you
looking
you
for.
had to go through those growing pains, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, and look, I mean, we're in a fun place too. You know, there's 2 times a year here where this place has 300 people
Yeah.
inside of it. You know, you get the 4th of July fireworks right here.
Yep.
And you get the town Christmas tree lighting right here.
Yeah.
And we are not built to handle that, but we do the best
You can. Yep.
Yeah, we do the absolute best we can. We got drinks lined up for people. We let them use our patio. We enjoy it. They appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, you go through it a couple times and you learn that. I mean, I wish it was, you know, I was talking to one of the other store owners, and he said to me, he says, "Man, I wish it was Saturday every day." And I'm like, he says, "I'd be retired already." I said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, but that's not the reality." of
Yeah.
it." I said, "For every
That's not the
great
fun part,
Friday,
right?
yeah, for every great Friday and Saturday, that's a reward for, you know, that slow Wednesday morning. You know, when you open the doors and you sit there and you
Yeah.
twiddle your thumbs.
Yeah.
It's part of it all. You know, I mean, golf courses go through it too.
Yeah.
There's times when they're begging people to walk on. Just all part of it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I was going to ask you too. I was wondering if, because it's a franchise, do they make you like charge a certain amount, or do they have a pricing,
They have suggested,
or do they just kind of let you go?
yeah, they have a suggested pricing structure.
Okay.
I realize, and they advised that it was probably a good thing to do, but they advised that try to stay within what other franchises, this franchise is doing. Look, just this last year, they opened a new store in Brooklyn. Okay. It's in a really nice part of Brooklyn. Their rent is probably 5 times what my
Yeah,
rent is.
yeah.
Okay. Their overhead is way out of whack. Their pricing is going to be a different model,
Yeah.
right? And there's the exceptions there. And then the other extreme is some store in Alabama there's a store in Birmingham, Alabama, or Huntsville, Alabama. It's
Yeah.
been open for 12 years or whatever, you know.
Just kills it.
Well, they do well, but it's like there's no reason they ever need to charge more than $30
Yeah,
an
I was gonna
hour,
say, yeah,
ever,
yeah.
right? So they understand that everybody, it's your own business,
Yeah.
and you got to figure out a way to
There
make
you
it, make it balance. But no, they give you kind of canned, like, this is what we suggest, and then you kind of play it either way, and you learn, like, this bay we're in on the weekends, I charge a little more for it because people want it,
Yeah.
right? And you just get a little bit more out of it. My actual MO for doing that is that I want to encourage people not to use it. Okay? It's getting a lot of abuse.
Yeah. Like you're telling me, you like it when it has a little time off.
A little time off. Yeah, it's nice
So-
tonight.
so I-
because
yeah,
it's getting
I
a
saved
break.
it for yeah.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, just spread the wealth
save
kind of
for it,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So it's yeah, it's a good thing. And then people will pay. They're like, oh, we get a private space,
Yeah.
kind of alone, and you know, if I were to do it all over again, I'd try to figure out a way to make it a private room. You know, like certain things I could have done could have made a bunker room.
Yeah.
You know, something that was like you rent that out. Most of the time, we just allow people to use. If you want to rent that out, it costs you a little more, but you
Yeah.
get your private party. We're small enough here that you know we just couldn't fit it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I even though it is nice to be like in your own kind of nook here, but I like the fact, you know, if you hear someone cheering, you go look at other screens, you kind of
Yeah.
walk around.
Yeah.
Which, you know, maybe not everybody wants you to see what they're doing, you know.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
some people do get embarrassed with their golf swing
Bay
or
one.
whatever. But
Bay
yeah.
one is the least wanted.
I was gonna
Right?
say.
You're sitting right in front of the
Yeah.
bar, hitting
Yeah.
balls. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, that was
And,
bad.
You know, it's funny that the first time I brought my wife, I just booked it and it was Bay One.
We
And she was like,
default to Bay
and she was
one.
like, "Why did you put me in the front?" I was like, I just said the best available." And yeah, she's like, "Never again." She's like,
Never.
"We need to be back
In
here
the back.
somewhere." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Like, all
learn.
right, yeah.
Yeah, there, you learn, like, would I have laid it out different? I probably couldn't have.
Yeah.
You know, but I was trying to figure out a way to do So I got 4 on this back wall,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to do 5. Wouldn't have met fire code. Because if I'd taken those units and turned them,
Yeah.
I would not have had what I needed for. There's
Because
actually
it'd be too
that
close.
space in the middle. You can't see it, but space in the middle, that it looks like a room in the middle of the
Yeah.
place. That's actually ducting that comes up through the restaurants below us. All their HVAC vents and everything. It's not part of my rented space. I couldn't move it, so I built around it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like limited on what I could do there. But it kind of worked out because this is a private bay. Those 2 bays get rented constantly for a big group.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when I have a party or an event like a company is doing and they have about 20-ish people or so, 25 people, I go, okay, front 3 bays, you can rent all those out. You're right in the lounge. You get easy access to the bar. They take the front of house.
Yeah.
And it kind of ended up, and if their group was even bigger, like 40 people, put them back on this side, take the whole back side. So it was luck, but I kind of have enough flex for everybody.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I wish I had 2-3 more of these bays.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants them.
Everyone,
always.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like you said, like the 2 in the middle are cool because you're back to back. If you're with a group, you can talk to your buddies.
Yeah.
You can watch them. You
Yeah.
can, you know.
League nights,
it's-
that's the best bays.
Oh, yeah.
Because you get
Everyone's
you
talking,
got
yeah.
4 teams, and there's a lot of what talking going on right there. So
Yeah, so I mean, it's great that you've come this far, and now people like me are able to use it too, and for other purposes, not just golf. And I mean, it's still golf, but not
golf
using the
based.
bay.
Yeah, golf based. I
And-
mean, I've had a million questions of people saying, "Could we play other video games on this?" And I've toyed with like, could we do a Fortnite tournament here or something like
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, probably we could.
Yeah,
It's a weird thing. It's sort of off topic for us. It would be a deviation. We'd have to spend some money to do it, and wouldn't necessarily. The bottom line is, it's nice to have kids in here. It's nice to have families in here, but none of that's very lucrative.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I mean, they're not spending money
one's
on
drinking.
Thank God.
Yeah, well,
But I mean,
yeah.
you that's where the demographic comes back. It's like, get people over 21 in
Yeah.
here. And we've done all that stuff. Like, we own a bar. One of my partners is like, I've just always wanted to own a bar, right? Okay, we own a bar. So you start to let's do this big Halloween party. We do it, and I'm like, it didn't really make us any money.
Yeah.
It was fun,
yeah.
but we got a DJ, and we spent a bunch of money on that, and it's like,
Did we recoup it on the sales? Right?
yeah.
Alcohol,
So I always go back to, try to make it centered around the golf. There could be add-ons to that. There's things we could do with, I mean, we do a trivia night here on Thursday nights. That trivia night's very popular.
Yeah.
Especially in the wintertime. People come in. I would never stop doing that. Doesn't really make me any money.
Yeah.
It's more exposure,
Yep.
right? And I do say that the bays sell out because people come and we're play trivia while we're playing golf. So you learn that sort of thing. Monday night football, play golf and watch the game.
Yeah.
All that stuff, like pair it, figure out a way to pair it. The March Madness thing you and I talked about a little bit. I think it's got to be your business is golf. Your business should be golf centric and kind of go out from there.
Yeah.
And you do that by, my advertising is, it's a barter and trade business.
Yeah.
I get my name at a charity golf tournament somewhere by giving those people some free time on the simulators,
Yeah,
right?
for
Or
sure.
a group, or sponsoring one of the schools. We're helping the Oak Ridge High School golf team raise some funds for their season. In
Yeah.
a couple of weeks, they're doing a little tournament
Oh, nice.
here, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, look, as long as I can pay my bills, as long as this kind of looks the same, I'm like, you guys get all proceeds besides that. Like, it's fine with me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And again, I think, I feel good about giving back, but I've got other motivations. I'm probably going to bring 20 or 30 people in here that never would have come
Oh,
in
yeah.
otherwise, and a few of them will come back
Yeah.
and just okay.
And that's
boom.
worth it, right?
That's why you do it. It's a slow burn.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
slow burn. Just keep at it.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of trial and error.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, early on, I was very much like, okay, here's somebody who wants to do an event, and I just quoted it, and it just loaded it up really expensive, and I was striking out left and right. And I'm like, yeah, what am I doing? You know, it's just about making it, you know, a deal for them, right?
Yeah.
Something interesting. It's an unknown for them, so they're not gonna, you know, roll that dice and spend all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my favorite things to do here, we do a lot of private parties, probably more than most X-Golfs, and that's a lot of word of mouth. That's advertising and, you know, a lot of social media when that happens. But I have, as of right now, I have 8 active quotes for, you know, parties between 25 and 50 people.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
for
awesome.
a few hours.
Yeah.
Those things are fun.
Yeah.
They have a good time. We have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
And like you said, it's probably there's probably at least half of those people who may never even thought of coming in here before, and now they're like, you know, it's almost like we were talking before. It's the Top Golf effect. Like you kind of added some fun to it, and now people want to do it more.
Yep.
And then we spoke, and I said, I think this is like, you know, not to knock them or anything, but I think this is 100% better experience.
It's different for the golfer for sure. You know, I mean, it's hard to argue. Top Golf is golf-like.
Yeah, yeah.
Is what I call it, right? And they've got some good tech now and stuff too. But I mean, it's a kind of a mini golf driving range combination, right? And yeah, you go slam the balls out there and laugh and have a good time. This is golf first, as real as they could get it inside, with that fun aspect. So it's different, and I think there's a place for both. And I mean, I've been asked 50 times, 100 times, but do you have Angry Birds on you know? You go, Top Golf, and then the kids complain, but do you have Angry Birds? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't have Angry Birds.
So I can't imagine the questions you get. Like, can you do this? What about this?
Yeah. Hey, there's the ones up here, Red Hawk.
Yeah.
They also have football on them. I'm like, we're golf.
Yeah.
But I do think and that's a lot of feedback we give to the franchise. I'm like, look, you want to expand your market, you don't need to ruin it by maybe layering some other stuff onto it to track that. So, you know, I think this is going to mature as time goes on. You know, we'll offer more, hopefully. And, you know, keep it fresh. I think my biggest fear has always been is that, you know, I'm in this for 5 or 10 years, and, you know, at the very least, and, you know, how do we keep it fresh? How does it not go stale? It's like, oh yeah, that's been there forever, right? So
eventually, it's like you're the Kleenex of simulator golf, right?
Yeah,
It's just a name. Like, oh, X Golf, it's been there.
Yeah, it's been there. Yeah, well,
I tried it when it first came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's not for everybody. I mean, I've had, you know, I wouldn't say any bad reviews. I mean, you know, occasional people but I got a great Yelp review the other day that just said, you know, went in, really nice place. They did a really good job with it. But it's just a person not into simulator golf. And he says, I wouldn't go back unless it was just raining and I had no other option. I'm like, you know, I responded to it just saying, I really appreciate that perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you had a good time. And don't be afraid to, you know, come back.
Come back, yeah.
But you can't be so arrogant to think everybody's going to, you know, absolutely everybody's going to love it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
It's not the case. So, yeah, you grow up and you figure it out and move on.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you know, Chuck, coming on.
Yeah.
I will say, if you want to go ahead and like, I guess give like the rundown of X Golf, and or maybe just give your pitch or something new that's coming out.
Yeah.
What you guys got going on here?
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, you know, we've chatted about it as we go on, but you know, we are indoor golf. We've got 7 simulator bays. We're sitting in one of those simulator bays. We have 50 courses you can play. It's real golf balls. Common question, I guess, can I bring my own clubs? I'm like, you better bring your own clubs.
Yeah, it's a requirement.
You're playing, it's not required.
Well,
I mean, we got some great ones, but I'm like, you want this to be a real experience, and you've got a custom fit, you know, set of irons. Bring your custom fit set of irons. You know, you hit the balls into a screen, and it's a virtual watching it go away, but it's a real golf ball. You don't have to chase the ball around. It just tees up right out of the floor for you. So we make it really easy. you know, it's a great thing to do when the weather's bad. It's a great thing to do when the golf courses are in bad shape. But more importantly, it's a great thing to do with friends. It's a great thing to do at any time and have an enjoyable time in a controlled environment. You know, 105, 110 degrees. It's trust me, it's a lot more comfortable in here, and my air conditioning bill, tells me that.
Might as well come get some use out of it.
And you know, it's middle of winter at this point. You know, we got a lot of stuff going on. We're getting into March. We got a March Madness little competition that we're going to be running. You know, and everything that we are trying to do here is to try to make sure it's a group. You know, it's like come in with a group, have a good time, but also compete. We run trivia nights on Thursday nights. We run leagues on Mondays. We're going to be starting our spring league in April. So hoping to we got 20 teams, 22-man teams for Winter League, and we're shooting for 30 for the Spring League, right? And then summer, as people are going away and stuff, we'll kind of slow that down and then pick it up again. You know, we have a host of membership options. And if you're looking to do, you know, an employee appreciation event, a company event, a little outing with clients, you won't be disappointed. Coming here.
Definitely
you have a really good time. So, and I appreciate
I can
you
attest
doing
to that.
this here.
Of course. So. Thank you. So everybody, you know, if you are in the Sacramento area now, I pretty much say, come check it out because it's a pretty awesome place.
Thanks.
Yeah. And thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, man.
And I don't know if I know you haven't seen every episode, but since we've been filming here, I shout you out every time. And I say, thank you, Chuck, for letting us film. And now I can actually say in person. And thank you, Chuck, for letting us film here.
Well,
it's a great facility. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And right back at you because, I didn't do it just to be a nice guy. I knew it would also benefit me. So we're hoping you grow, right? And I'm telling people I know, and we'll continue to kind of push you on our social media.
I appreciate that.
And let people, we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right.
All right, sir.
Cool.
Well, and everybody out there, if you like what we're doing, or if you just want to come visit Chuck, do that. Keep liking and subscribing, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.